enlightened consciousness. So, Kumbhakarna represents two things. The development of body. How can it be done? Sleeping a lot and eating a lot. But you can never become a jnani, never become a wise man. But our aim here is enlightenment of consciousness. So we have to avoid it. Then this is the relationship between Annamaya Kosha and the spirit. And if you want enlightenment of consciousness, what are you asked to do? What are you asked to do at the time of Shivaratri? At the time of Shivaratri, you are asked to go without food and without sleep. No food and no sleep. What does it mean? If you want to become a spiritual person, these two obstructions must be crossed, must be overcome. Next. Why do we need sleep? For rest, for repair of wear and tear. We are constantly moving around. We are wasting a lot of physical energy and mental energy. So, what is meant by wear and tear? We are losing millions and millions of body cells. To recuperate that energy, to make up for the loss, we have to take food. Otherwise, we don't need food. And we need sleep also, rest also. Constant expenditure of your energy will make you a tired person. It will make you grow old quickly. That is why Swami Ramalinga says, reduce your physical efforts. Reduce your physical motions. Reduce the quantity of your mental efforts. Because if you increase your physical effort and mental effort, what happens? You will be losing a lot of energy. To recuperate that energy, to get back that energy, you will be taking a lot of food. A lot of food means a lot of sleep. Strangely, I found this fact not from any saint, but the saint poet John Milton. It was John Milton who told me, who pointed out to me that food makes man asleep. You take one handful of rice extra, what happens? Immediately you feel like lying down and sleep. One handful of extra meal will make you fall asleep. You would like to sleep, fall down and sleep, lie down and sleep. So, food makes you sleep because if after eating food, what happens? You have to digest it. What is digestion? Most of the blood in the blood system, it rushes to the stomach and digestion takes place. When digestion takes place, what happens? All the other parts of the body, all the other limbs are reduced to no blood. No blood, or they are invested with very little blood. Sometimes people are paralyzed. Sometimes people have heart attack after taking food during digestion. That is why you are asked to take at least 50 or 100 steps, not much. After eating food, you should take to 50 steps or 100 steps so that blood will be circulating all through the body. And then Swami says, take some rest. After taking food, lie down but do not sleep. After lunch, Swami says, don't take a nap. Don't fall asleep, but just lie down. Give the body some rest. Give it some rest so that your digestion will be complete. So here, why do we need sleep? For rest and for repair of wear and tear. If you could reduce our physical effort and mental effort, we don't need so much of sleep. Sleep and spirituality. Sleep is equal to darkness of consciousness. It is a small death. As I told you earlier, what is death? It is prolonged sleep. The great sage, Tamil sage, Thiruvalluvar says, Tunjinar Settarin Verallar. Tunjudal means sleep. Settal means dying. So, those who are under sleep, under the spell of sleep, they are as good as dead. The condition is almost the same. So, what is sleep? Darkness of consciousness. Who are we? We are consciousness incarnate. We are consciousness, and what are the bodies? The expressions of consciousness. What is the level of your consciousness? Your body shows the level of your consciousness. If your consciousness remains at the state of an animal, you would have been given a body of an animal. But your consciousness had already developed to a higher level, so that God gave you a body of human quality. Human body was given to you because your condition of consciousness had already risen to a higher level. So what is the body? The body is the expression of your consciousness. Here, sleep is called darkness of consciousness, but our purpose here to attain jnana or wisdom. What is wisdom or jnana? It is enlightenment of consciousness. Enlightenment means removal of darkness. Removing darkness is called enlightenment. Where is this darkness? In the Vedas, 3 places are given. Asatoma Sat Gamaya, Tamasoma Jyotir Gamaya, Mrityoma Amritam Gamaya. O Lord, take me from Asat, matter, to Sat, to life. And then take me from ignorance to intelligence. Take me from death to immortality. This is the invocation in the Vedas. This is the prayer to the Lord. So there are 3 forms of darkness. What is that? All matter, inorganic matter is darkness, total darkness. From inorganic matter, life was born according to science of Charles Darwin. From inorganic matter, life was born. How was it born? From the gaseous state, some kind of nitrogen was formed, and from nitrogen protein was formed. From protein, life symptoms were born, and finally you have the amoeba, one-celled organism. From one-celled organism, you have multicellular organism like plants and animals. And from animals, you reach the stage of ape. From ape, you enter into Homo sapiens species. We are all Homo sapiens. We could evolve in future. We don't know. We are evolving, the scientists say and the spiritualists say. So from one unicellular organism of amoeba, now we have evolved into a billion-celled organs. So here, sleep is equal to darkness of consciousness. If you want to attain enlightenment of consciousness, you have to do away with sleep totally. Absolutely. There should be no wink of sleep, not even an iota of sleep left in your consciousness. Then what happens? When you fall asleep, you are bound to die. The cessation of consciousness is called death. There are 2 types of death. First, we must understand that. Death of consciousness and death of body. Jnanis, Muktas, they allow the death of the body, but they don't allow the death of the consciousness. Ramana Maharshi allowed the death of the body, and he is buried there, but he never allowed the death of his consciousness. He has retained that consciousness very much there. It is there. When Ramana was alive with his body, he had retained his consciousness. It is even now functioning as fully as possible. At the end of his life, one follower was all in tears, and he asked, Bhagwan, what are we going to do when you leave this body? It is there in his talks. And Bhagwan says, where will I go, my son? I will be here only, don't worry. He is very much there. His consciousness he is able to retain in his own hands. It is very much there. That is mukti. The Lord of Death, Yama, he cannot take away his consciousness. This is salvation. So there is no death of consciousness. And what is the death of body? The Siddhas, they want to go one step further. Yes, we will not surrender our lives. We will not surrender our consciousness in the hands of the Lord of Death or Yama. But in addition to that, apart from enlightenment of consciousness or mukti or salvation, we want something else. We want something more. What is that? We want to retain this body also as long as we want. For hundreds of years, for thousands of years, even for thousands of ages, we should be able to preserve this body also. This is the aim of the Siddhas. 18 Siddhas. Kriya Baba, you might have heard about him. Paramahamsa Yogananda system called Yogada Satsanga and Kriya Yoga Baba. He is supposed to be alive even for 2000 years. Ella meduma, ella edunga. Kona, adha. See, the yoga of the 18 Siddhas, an anthology. Poets of Power, translated into English by one Kamil Zalabil of Czechoslovakia. Thousands and thousands of books of Siddha literature are available in Tamil. Now, all these things are available in English also. One Marshall Govindan of Canada, an Englishman, his name was Marshall. Now he has modified it into Marshall Govindan. He has become almost a citizen of India. He has got his headquarters in Bangalore. He has translated the poetry of the Siddha. 18 Siddhas, 18 immortals in Tamil. And in Tibet, they have 80 immortals. And in China, they have got 8 immortals. It is called Taoist literature. So, if you follow this system, you can retain your body, physical body also as long as you want. Yesterday, we saw the system of food as it is prescribed by the Siddhas. So, this is the Siddha literature. Those who want to follow the system of Siddhas, they can have this literature in English. It's available. Yesterday, I showed you one Tirumandram. It is also belonging to the Siddha system of literature. This is Tirumandram by Tirumula, published by Ramakrishna Mission. So, there are 2 ways of death. One is the death of consciousness as it is attained by the muktas or jnanis. And there is the death of body. That is what normally happens. What normally happens with an ordinary human being at the time of death? He loses his consciousness and his consciousness is taken away by the Lord of Death called Yama in Indian Puranas or mythology or nature. We don't know. Somehow he loses his consciousness. He is not the proprietor of his own consciousness. And then the body, it is either cremated or burnt. So he doesn't possess, she doesn't possess either the body or the consciousness. This body does not belong to us. This consciousness does not belong to us. We make no effort to possess either this consciousness or this body. We are a tenant in this house of the body. We are a tenant in the house of this consciousness. We don't possess anything, either this one or that one. We lose both the things at the time of death. For jnanis like Ramana, they retain their consciousness. For Siddhas, like the 18 Siddhas, like Tirumula, they possess their consciousness as well as their bodies. And Swami Ramalinga goes one step further and he says, you can even retain your body, you can transform your body into that of Godhead itself. You can attain even the divine stature, even divinity could be attained. That is the immortality. That is what is called immortality by Saint Ramalinga. It is given in an elaborate manner like the system of Sanmarga. Jesus Christ made an attempt at giving the entire science of immortality. There are many hints at that, but unfortunately you don't find the entire system in the Bible. People say he was kind enough, compassionate enough to come out with the entire science of immortality. What is meant by resurrected body? So that every man or woman could attain it. But unfortunately, those passages were cut, were edited, and you don't find it in the Bible. One day, people could excavate those things. We may get them. But if you want to have them, it is fully given there in Thiruvarutpa, in the Siddha literature, in the Thiruvarutpa of Swami Ramalinga. We are seeing one chapter after another. Now, but we must be very clear about this. What is meant by the death of the consciousness and by the death of the body. Whatever you want. Yes, sir, I don't want to retain this body, this ugly creature, this ugly body. Some saints, some Christian saints called this my donkey friend. This body, my donkey friend. I don't want to bear it on my spirit, on the shoulders of my spirit. Okay, well and good. If you don't want this donkey friend, you can throw it away. As I told you yesterday, our Father, God, He wants to give us whatever we want. If you want a good sari, being a female child, He gives you, He buys you a good beautiful sari. If you want a pair of trousers, He gives you. If you want a motorcycle, He gives you. So, what do you want out of your life? What do you want at the end of life? He gives you. There are any number of ways of salvation. So, whatever you want, God grants you, you take it. There is no problem. If you want only mukti, okay, take mukti. If you want in addition to mukti, siddhi, you take that also. In addition to that, if you want to say, my Father in heaven and I are one. Who was able to say that? A Buddha said, a Christ said, every one of us could say that. My Father in heaven and I are one. If you say this, some people will consider it as blasphemy. In some countries, even your head could be cut off. That is different. But in India, you can declare it. Aham Brahmasmi. What is meant by Aham Brahmasmi? I am Brahman. I am God. I am Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi. The very Vedas declare. Aham Brahmasmi. That is your real identity. You are not a man. You are Brahman itself. Because you are blessed with absolute consciousness. By confining yourself inside the body, by confining yourself in the egoistic consciousness, you are reducing your stature to the level of an atom. And you consider yourself a man or a woman. No, you are not a man, you are not a woman, you are the child of God. Being the child of God, one day you should also grow to the level of God. That's why the Vedas declare, Aham Brahmasmi. Aham means myself, I, my Atman. So what is our real identity? We are Brahman. We are Godhead. But are we gods now? No. Potential gods. The seed is there. The seed is there. How small is the seed? A tiny seed. A tiny seed of a banyan tree. But when it grows and develops into a full tree, what is its stature? Immense tree. A very large tree. So, God is dwelling inside us in the form of a small seed. Aham, it is Aham, it is only Atman now. But this could grow into Brahman. It is in your hands. Either to develop it or keep it as small as a seed, it is in your hands. Okay, so first we should understand what is happening at the time of death. There are two types of death. That is, the death of consciousness and the death of body. And you are allowed to conquer both the types of death, provided you know how to go about it, how to do it. What is the science of the conquest of death of the consciousness and the death of the body? If you follow the system of muktas, you can conquer the death of the consciousness. If you follow the way of the Siddhas, you can conquer even the death of the body, like Kriya Babaji and Jesus Christ and Vallalar. And if you follow the system of Sanmarga of Vallalar, you can even transform this physical body into an eternal body of total compassion, Arul body, compassionate body. So we are going to see all about that later. Now, next. Sleep of the body. There are many different varieties of sleep. Sleep of the body, sleep of the mind, sleep of the soul, sleep of the spirit, and sleep of divinity inside us. There are 5 different varieties of sleep. So it goes inside. It's very, very deep seated. So we have to root out this evil of sleep from 5 varieties, from 5 stages in our body. Now first we have to root out this disease from the body, the sleep of the body. Even after getting up, we are supposed to be now at the wakeful stage. Are we awake? Are we awake? Totally awake? No. The degree varies. Some of you may be 10% awake. Some of you may be 20% awake. Some of your bodies may be 50% awake. Before warm up, what happens? Your body is almost asleep. After warm up, what happens? It is to some extent awake. After the exercises or yoga, what happens? You feel excited, you feel jubilant, you feel like jumping up, you feel like running. Do you find any children walking? Most of them will like to run. They will like to jump 2 paces at a time, 2 steps at a time. If you are ascending a hill, you can see the children, they will be ascending 2 steps, 3 steps at a time. And the mother and the grandmother will be curtailing, hey, don't go there, you might fall down, stop. No, what is the amount of energy contained in that body? They want to jump, they want to run. So, there is no sleep of the body with the children. But as far as we are concerned, old people, adult people, as far as we are concerned, our body is always under sleep. So, to ward off this sleep of the body, you have to walk at least 3 to 5 miles a day. At least 45 minutes of walking for old people is recommended by the doctors. For old people like us, like me, the doctor recommends at least 45 minutes of walking or at least 5 miles of walking. And then exercises, some kind of cycling or jogging or some kind of exercises or yoga. By these physical exercises and yoga, you can ward off the sleep of the body. You can discard the sleep. You can get away from the sleep of the body. Without discarding the sleep of the body, you will be always feeling lazy. You always feel like lying down on the bed. You don't want to get up and go about doing things. Am I right or not? Yes, so sleep of the body should be discarded at any cost, should be overcome at any cost. Next. Sleep of the mind. What are the indications? Laziness, lethargy. Laziness and lethargy. You feel like doing something, but you don't have the mental energy to do that. You aspire to go to the United States, but you have to apply for at least the passport. If you get the passport, you have to get the visa also. You have to go to Chennai and stand in the queue of a long queue. There will be hundreds of people there. You have to stand there in the scorching sunlight. You have to undergo the ordeal, but you don't have that energy. But you want to go to the United States and you see all the glittering places, but you don't have the energy to do all that. What does it mean? There is no mental energy. There is sleep of mind. To ward off, to overcome, to fight that sleep of the mind, what is the way? Pranayama is the only way. In the Gurdjieff system, he devised some dances. Dance is a very good thing. He devised some very difficult dances. Very difficult dances. You have to apply your mind as well as your body if you want to do those dances as they were devised by Gurdjieff, the Russian mage. Those dances are available. They are called Sufi dances. By practicing those dances, you can ward off this sleep of the mind. But as far as my experience is concerned, I think pranayama, doing it in the right way, can do the trick. Pranayama is the only way to ward off the sleep of the mind. A famous quotation from Tirumandram, I recall. Idakkai, valakkai, irandayum, matri, tudikayal, unnavallarku, soravum vendam. Urakkathai, niki, unaravallarku, irakkavum vendam, irukkalu mami. What does he mean? Idakkai. Idakkai means left hand. Valakkai means right hand. You are eating either with the right hand or with the left hand. No, hereafter don't do this. Instead, what does he advise us? Tudikayal unnavallarku. How does an elephant eat? How does an elephant eat? Tudikai. In Tamil, tudikai means proboscis. Proboscis. It is eating through the proboscis. It is some kind of an elongated nose only. It's some kind of an elongated nose only. Proboscis. Tudikayal unnavallarku. If you can eat through the tudikai or proboscis, you won't have sleep of the mind. Then, when there is no sleep of the mind, you can attain enlightenment. Your consciousness need not die. That is the meaning of the song. How to eat through the proboscis, how to become an elephant and eat it. Is it possible for us to become an elephant and eat through the proboscis? Here the master yogi is talking in terms of yoga. What is it? This proboscis is the ula. It is situated at the roof of your mouth. So, instead of nose breathing, you have to learn afresh the breathing through the throat breathing. That is what was taught here this morning. It is called Vasa Yoga. If you know how to breathe through the throat, Vasa Yoga, and if you could send the air upwards into the brain, you will not feel tired, you will not feel lazy, you will not feel lethargic, and you will be full of joy. You will be full of energy, mental energy. You could do anything and everything. So, pranayama is the only way. The right way of doing pranayama will make you overcome this sleep of the mind. Okay? Then, we are passing on to the next thing. That's why even Ramana Maharishi says, there are two ways to quieten your mind and go beyond. One is the way of meditation or vichara. See the root of the idea of I. From where your thought of I comes. You see, you go to the source by following the thought of I. That is meditation. There is yet another way, pranayama. Maharishi recommended and acknowledged the truth of pranayama. If you know how to do it properly, you can quieten your mind through proper breathing. Okay, next. Sleep of the soul. Though we are blessed with a soul, unfortunately it is always under sleep. It is always asleep, we never wake it up. That is why we fail in our life, in worldly life, as well as in spirituality. Our souls are always in slumber. We don't tap into the soul force at all. How do we awaken the soul force? When you join a great movement like the independence of India, at the time of independence of India, what happens? Gandhiji was able to awaken the soul force of some 30 crores of people. The policeman will be beating you constantly. With all that pain, they will be shouting the slogan of Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram. Please see that film, Gandhi. Normally I don't recommend seeing films, but I want you to see that film, Gandhi. People will be lathi charged. The policeman will be constantly hitting him. But the man, the Bhakta, the Gandhian will be always shouting, Vande Mataram, long live Gandhi. No amount of pain could change his mind. How was he able to bear so much of pain? With that soul force awakened. Because he had dedicated his body and life and soul to a great cause of independence of India. When a reporter from England came to Tiruvannamalai and asked Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi, Sir, you are sitting here with a loincloth. You don't do anything. But Gandhi is fighting for the independence of 30 crores of people, of Indians. What is the difference, sir? And Ramana Maharshi said, the same force that is happening here is acting there also. What did he mean? The soul force. The soul force. How to awaken that soul force? Another reporter from England, he laughed at Gandhi. Mr. Gandhi, when I look at you, I feel like laughing. Why, sir? He said, you see, the Second World War is over. Second World War is over. Hitler, with all his millions of soldiers, millions of machine guns, and thousands of tanks, and thousands of airplanes, he was not able to conquer us. We were able to destroy him. You were able to liquidate Hitler and his army. But you, with your toothless mouth,